Good morning. Today we're going to learn how to set up an ACT account. Once we set up the account, we'll take a look at how to register for a specific ACT test date and test center. We're going to talk a little bit about fee waivers and resources for the ACT test prep. Okay, so the first thing you'll do is type in act.org into your search engine, and that'll bring you to this page. You'll see there is a notification pop-up in the right-hand side of the page. So you can read through that. It talks a little bit about the frustrations experienced during COVID-19 with the cancellation of tests and closing of test centers. And it talks a little bit more specifically about one test date, June 13th, 2020. But that doesn't apply to us for this video, so you can go ahead and close that window. Okay, after you close that pop-up notification, you'll see there's an additional notification in the light green banner across the top of the page, again related specifically to COVID-19. It says, "Thank you for your patience as we continue to navigate the COVID-19 pandemic. All students currently registered for the June 13th ACT test have been sent an email with updates on test center availability and capacity. Test center cancellations and frequently asked questions are now available." And then just information that you can click on here that has to do with the June 13th administration, ACT test facts, and then COVID-19 resources. So let's go ahead and close that window as well. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and set up an account. So the first thing you'll do is click on Register for the ACT, which will bring you to this window. There are a couple of choices here. It says, will you test in the US or will you test outside the US? So go ahead and choose Create US Account. And then once you click on that button, you'll come to this screen and there are a couple of required questions. It says fields marked with an asterisk are required. So the first question is, have you registered for the ACT before? So presumably if we're just creating our web account, we have never registered for the ACT. So we're going to choose no. And then the second question is, have you taken the ACT before? This one, the possible answer is yes. So if you have taken it as part of your school-wide administration in your junior year, then you would need to choose yes here, but that's going to be a little more involved and will probably require the assistance of your school counselor to set up your account. But for purposes of this video, we're going to choose no, we have not taken the ACT before. So once you choose no, go ahead and click continue. And that'll bring you to the Create Your Web Account page. So let's read through this page together. Again, you have a notification at the beginning that says fields marked with an asterisk are required. And then to the right, there's an information for parents tab. So if we click on that, let's read through that together. It says parents, ACT requires that your child complete the account creation and test registration processes. There are questions about your child's interest and college and career plans that are best answered by the student. And there is critical information about the testing process that your child will need to know. If you are assisting your child with registration, please be sure to always provide your child's information, not your own. Each student must have his or her own account. And then it says, due to internet privacy laws, students younger than 13 years of age cannot have an ACT web account. To register students younger than 13, you will need to request a registration packet from us or get a registration packet from your local high school. Okay, so let's close that box and go back to this page. So let's get started filling in your information to create your web account. The first yellow box says the name entered here may appear on all of your ACT documents, including score reports. The first and last names provided here must match the required photo identification presented on test day. So let's pause for just a second and talk about the importance of this information. I do recommend that you get whatever ID you're planning to use to present on test day and put it beside you as you're filling out this information. So you want to make sure that your first and last name and all of this information matches exactly what your ID says. So for instance, if you're using a state driver's license or driver's permit or any other type of state identification, then make sure that your name is exactly as it appears on the ID. So for instance, if your first name is Jonathan, but you typically go by John, and your ID has Jonathan on it, you want to make sure that that's what you put in here and not the abbreviated form. Okay, so let's start by entering our information. The middle initial, as you see, does not have an asterisk, so that is optional. So you can leave that blank. And just continue putting in your information. You'll need your birth date. Let's pause again for a second here and talk about email addresses. Prior to setting up any account that has to do with the college application process, such as this ACT account and next your SAT account, I do recommend that you create a unique email address for the college application process, and you use that email address throughout the entire process. You probably have a personal email address and a school email address, and both of those may have gotten clogged over the years with different listservs you've signed on to, and you may have a lot of information coming into each of those accounts. During the college application process, companies like the ACT and the SAT, colleges, scholarship programs, other community-based programs like Upward Bound may be sending you important information regarding the college application process. And you don't want those emails to get lost in the middle of all of your other emails related to high school or in your personal email inbox. So I do recommend creating a specific email address for the college application process and checking it every day. So let's go ahead and enter our email here, and they're going to ask you to confirm the email address as well. So just retype the email. And then there's a link here that says, how will your email be used? I do recommend that you get into the habit of at least clicking on these links to see if there's useful information for you. So let's go ahead and see what this one says. It states that email is an important communication link between you and the ACT. The address you enter is where you will send critical messages, including information about accessing your account. In many cases, we will send reminders to print your admission ticket, updates to your registration, and other alerts. Your email address will also be part of your record, included in score reports and used in accordance with our privacy policy. You can expect to receive email regarding your ACT information from any of the following email addresses, and they'd like for you to avoid losing messages in spam filters by adding these to your address book. Okay, so let's go ahead and close that window and go back to our page. Next, we have the privacy policy agreement. So the box says, I understand that by creating an account, I consent to the processing of my personally identifying information, including the collection, use, transfer, and disclosure of information as described in the ACT privacy policy. And you have a link to the privacy policy. Let's go ahead and click on this link. We're not going to read the entire thing. It is quite long. However, I do recommend that you get into the habit of reading these privacy policies just in general prior to agreeing to them. Okay, so you can see I'm going to read the first thing, which is the scope of this notice. It says, at ACT Inc., we recognize the importance of protecting the privacy of personally identifying information and believe that use and sharing of it is important to our mission of helping people achieve education and workplace success. This notice explains how ACT collects, uses, maintains, shares, and protects your information when you visit ACT websites that provide a link to this privacy policy, collectively the site, as well as when you provide your personally identifying information to us online and offline when you participate in the ACT's assessments, programs, and services. Okay, and if you scroll down, you'll see it is quite extensive. So children's policy, information ACT collects, and it goes on for quite a while. So again, I'm not going to spend the time on this video reading through this, but I do recommend that you read through this and understand the privacy policy for the ACT. But for now, let's close this window and go back to our registration page. So let's go ahead and click the box to agree to the privacy policy. There's a second paragraph in this yellow box that pertains only to international examinees. And then let's go ahead and choose continue. That's going to bring up the information that you've entered so far. Make sure that all of this is correct. If you need to correct something, go ahead and choose the purple link that says correct it now. And then now they're going to ask you for a username and a password. So let's pause for just a minute here and talk about this. When you are creating these accounts, I know we all like to think that we'll remember all of our usernames and all of our passwords, but you may not refer back to this website for a while and you may forget what username or password you used. So I highly recommend that you go ahead and grab a notebook or your planner, wherever you keep track of your usernames and passwords. And that could be a cell phone as well. You could create an ACT contact on your cell phone. But somewhere you need to have this information stored that you can access readily when you need to sign back into your ACT account. It is quite a process to have to reset all of this information with the ACT. It usually involves a phone call, which then in turn involves a lot of waiting time. So let's go ahead and create a username that you'd like to use here. And then we're going to go ahead and create a password. For the password, let's go ahead and click on the information box and see what the rules are for creating a password. They would like for your password to contain 3 of the following: uppercase letter, lowercase letter, a number, and a symbol. It must not contain the user ID, and it must not contain more than 2 repeating characters, and it must be at least 7 characters long, and not be a password used in the last 24 hours. So a lot of specifics there for your password. So let's go ahead and create a password. And repeat the password. And let's see if we met all of the rules by clicking continue. Okay, looks like we did great on the password. I'm not going to ask them to save the password for now and that little pop-up up there. So this page says sign up for parent reminders. Fill out the optional fields below for a parent or guardian to receive important email reminders and information from ACT about your test deadlines, registration requirements, and purchases. Note, only one parent email address may be associated with your account. The most recent email address provided is the one that will be retained. So you can choose whether or not to include your parents here or your guardians. And if you would like for them to have reminders to kind of help you with reminders, then fill out this information here. I'm going to leave that blank for now and choose continue. Okay, again, we're back to your information, and it says fields marked with an asterisk are required. It has the information we've already filled in, and then now we have an ACT ID. So again, this is where you're going to pause and go ahead and take out that notebook that you saved your username and password in, or pull up your ACT contact on your cell phone and log this ACT account number into that form. Okay, and then next it says parent information. This allows parents to help you stay on track by getting emails with important reminders, alerts, and opportunities. Parents do not receive your scores and they can't make changes to your account. So again, You can choose if you'd like to fill that information in. I'm going to leave that blank for now. Next, you'll need to fill in your address information. You can see that these fields are required. So under country, you can do the drop-down box, but it already populates with the United States. Okay, and then you'll need to put in your mailing address, your street address, the city, and the state, which is also a drop-down box, and the zip code. Okay, next they're going to ask you for your phone number. That you'll see is an optional field, so I'm going to leave that blank for now. Next question is year of high school graduation. So they want us to use 4 digits. Let's say that we're graduating in the year 2021. You'll see the next 3 questions are required. However, you can also choose prefer not to respond. Instead of choosing, for instance, for your gender, instead of female, male, or another gender, you can choose prefer not to respond. And then indicate if you are of Hispanic or Latino background. You can choose yes, no, or prefer not to respond. And then under indicate your race, you can mark all that apply, or again, you can prefer not to respond or none of these apply. Okay, and then go ahead and choose continue. Next, you're going to need to find your high school. So if you know your high school code for the ACT, you can put that in here and choose confirm. Otherwise, you can search for your high school. So let's go ahead and search for the high school. United States already populates. The state and territory that you entered in the last box already populates. And then let's go ahead and search for the high school by name. It says enter only one word or part of a word in the formal name of the school. Do not use punctuation. Examples: enter Mary to find St. Mary's High School, enter McKin to find William McKinley Senior High School. The search will return a list of schools with that word. Look for your school by city and select it. So I'm just gonna start to enter a few letters here. Alcoa, and then gonna put the city and search. Okay, Alcoa High School. So that is my high school. So it says choose your high school from this list or search again. So if that's not the correct high school for you that populated, then go back and re-enter the information until you find your high school. Okay, and then we're going to choose select and confirm that this is the high school I attend, and you'll see the high school code populates now as well. Choose continue. Okay, so we have successfully created an ACT account. Now it brings us to this page, and they want to know if we're ready to register for the ACT. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to register for the ACT. Let's go ahead and choose the red button, register now. And that brings us to this page, which talks about accommodations and or English learner supports. So if you have an IEP or a 504, or you're in an ELS class, then you would need to talk to your manager for any of those programs and see if you qualify for special accommodations on the ACT. So the question is, are you an examinee with a disability who needs accommodations and or an English learner who needs supports to access the ACT? Again, if you qualify for any of these programs, go ahead and talk to either your Upward Bound manager or your school counselor to find out how to receive these accommodations. For now, I'm going to say no and choose continue. Okay, and this brings us to a field that shows all of the information we've entered. And again, we chose to leave the parent guardian information blank for now. So that's going to be a blank field. We did not enter a cell phone number, so we're going to leave that blank as well. And then continue down to the bottom, and it says in this gray box, Educational Opportunities Service provides you with free information from colleges, universities, financial aid, scholarship agencies, and organizations that offer educational programs. If you respond yes, you agree to be contacted by ACT and authorize ACT to provide the following information about you to colleges, universities, financial aid, and scholarship agencies, and organizations that offer educational programs. And so what the things they will share is name, address, gender, high school, email address, date of birth, year of high school graduation, racial ethnicity background, intended college major, and occupational choice. In addition, any information you choose to provide in the student profile section, as well as your ACT test score range, may be disclosed to and used by these organizations to assist in identifying candidates for educational, scholarship, and financial aid opportunities. All organizations participating in the EOS have agreed to use this information only for the purpose of sharing information about their educational, scholarship, or financial aid programs. If you respond no, the selection applies only to this administration of the ACT. If you do not respond to this question, your information will not be disclosed through EOS unless you previously authorized release. To request that your information from past administrations of the ACT no longer be sent to organizations participating in EOS, please contact ACT or visit the EOS program information page, and it gives you the link to that page there. So this is a personal decision. I recommend choosing yes for this. It just opens up more opportunities to you to receive information. Are you going to get some junk mail that you are completely not interested in? Yes, most likely. But if you weed through all of that, there may be some helpful information to you about scholarships and financial aid and about different college opportunities. So I do recommend choosing yes. So you'll need to do that in the next yellow box. It says, do you want to participate in the free educational opportunity service from ACT? So colleges, scholarship agencies, and other educational programs can provide you information. Your phone number will not be shared. So I'm going to choose yes there. And then, are you right or left-handed? So that's an interesting question, right? But they want to know for the type of desk they will have available for you at the test center. So we're going to go ahead and choose right and then continue. The next page is your high school summary. This begins to get into information that you're going to share about your high school career, your college plans, interests. You can see on the left-hand side of the page under Register to Test how it's broken down. So this one is your high school summary. Then we have college plans, college interests, special interest, extracurricular activities, paying for college, background information, and then finally accomplishments. This does take a little bit of time to fill out, but go through it, take your time. Make sure you're as accurate as possible. It will help colleges kind of target information specifically to your interests. And it's okay if you don't know some of this at this point in your life. You can leave a lot of the questions blank. There are very few questions in this section that are required, but there are a couple. So make sure you roll through this even if you don't want to answer any of these questions. So I've already filled in some of these fields. We're just going to flip through it really quick, and then you're going to take your time doing this on your own. So under high school accomplishments, you can see that there's a drop-down box to choose the type of program you studied in high school. I chose college prep. And then you can choose your GPA. That's your current GPA. Don't worry about predicting future GPA. And then the closest high school rank, I chose second quarter. A lot of high schools are getting away from ranking now. So if your high school does not rank, don't worry about that. You can leave it blank. Even if your high school does rank, you can still leave it blank. Okay, and then information about your high school. What kind of high school will you graduate from? And then there's a drop-down box. I chose public. And then about how many students are going to be in your graduating class. I chose 399. And then here's detailed information about your high school courses. Basically, they want to know how many years you're going to study each subject level. I chose the typical graduation requirements, which differ sometimes between states and schools, but these are what is typical. Usually, students will study 4 years or more of English, math, social studies. Science actually sometimes is only 3 years required for graduation. However, if you're college bound to a 4-year university, you're most likely still going to study 4 years of science. Okay, and then again, if you're bound to a 4-year university, you're going to need at least 2 years of a foreign language. So I put 2 years here. And then the right-hand column wants to know if it's an AP accelerated or honors course. So you can click that if that's true. Okay, and then continue. The next page is all about what you want to kind of start to think about with a university. Are you going to live on campus, off campus? You can see the choices here in the drop-down box. And then what is the highest level of education you expect to complete? So you can choose that there and then continue. And then this is, again, more information about what kind of college you're looking to attend. So you can read through those and answer those to the best of your ability. Again, if you don't have this information or you feel like it's just not something that you have a grasp of at this point in your high school career, you can leave all of these blank. Okay, and then in the yellow box it says from 1 to 7, with 1 being the most important and 7 being the least important, rank these factors on how important they are to you in selecting a college. Do not assign the same rank to more than one item. So again, you can rank that. So just type in whatever the number. So type of institution, I'm going to say 1. So just go through and do that for all of these. Again, you don't see any asterisks here. This is not required, but I do recommend that you fill these out. And now we go on to special interest. In college, will you need assistance with any of the following? Check what you may need assistance with. And then the next question is check the following to indicate your interest in college enrichment or accelerated programs. So choose any that apply and continue. And then extracurricular activities. You can choose any of these that you participated in high school and any that you intend to participate in college. So again, take your time here. For instance, if you were in drama in high school and you'd like to participate in drama in college, there may be some special opportunities for people who would like to be involved in drama at certain colleges. So if you check that here, then those colleges would know how to find you and share information with you. So choose continue, and next we have paying for college, and you can choose whether you expect to use financial aid and apply for financial aid, and whether or not you would like to work while you're in college, about how many hours per week would you like to work, and then to plan financial aid for entering students is colleges need to know the financial backgrounds of their students, and they ask for you to estimate your combined income of your parents. If you know that, you can put it in. If you don't, that's okay. You can leave it blank. Choose continue. And now we get to the background information. Here we have a couple of required questions. So just roll through these. They do give the option of I prefer not to respond. So even though they're required, you can choose I prefer not to respond if that is your preference. So answer those questions. And then again, here's a question at the bottom about your parents' highest education level. So you can put that in if you know it, and if you don't, that's okay. Choose continue. And then this is asking about your extracurriculars or out of class accomplishments. So it says if none of these apply to you, please click continue. So just look through these and you can choose any you'd like to there and then continue. And then this brings you to the ACT interest inventory. This is also quite involved and you'll need a bit of time to complete this information. Let's just look at it as an overview and then we'll move on. So it says your responses below can help you consider college major possibilities, strengthen college major plans, consider career possibilities, and plan high school or college coursework. So for sure, take your time and be very accurate here. This is a great part of the ACT. They're going to send you some information that says, based on the answer to these questions, this is what you might be really good at or what might be interesting to you. So it doesn't tie you to any major or any career, but it helps you kind of look at where your interests lie and what might match up with that as far as college majors and career possibilities. So you just answer dislike, indifferent, or like. Just be honest. Roll through those. There are quite a few questions, so take your time and then choose continue. And this says you did not complete enough items to calculate results. You can finish this section later. Results can be included on score reports if you finish this section by noon Central Time on the Thursday after your test date. Click OK to save what you've done so far and go on to other sections, or cancel to stay on the page and answer more questions. So we're going to click OK. Okay, and finally we come to the first page where we're going to select where we'd like to test in order to begin the registration process. You need to choose either US or in another country, and when you choose US, you'll see a new pop-up down below that's simply stating that as of September the 3rd, 2019, anyone registering for a national or special ACT test to be taken in the United States, US territories, or Puerto Rico, eligible students will be automatically entered into a scholarship giveaway sweepstakes. So you have to opt out if you do not want to enter this sweepstakes for scholarships. So if you need to opt out of that, you'll click on the official rules link to do so. I'm going to stay in the scholarship giveaway and click continue. Okay, so it says who's registering the student. This item is required. Mark all that apply. So if you, the student, are registering yourself, then you would choose I am registering myself. You could have a parent or legal guardian helping you, or a counselor, teacher, or other school staff member, perhaps someone from Upward Bound helping you. And there's also a choice of a person not listed as helping me. So we're going to choose that the student is filling out the information. Next page says registration information. If any of the following circumstances apply to you, please learn more now by reading the linked information. So the choices are: my religious beliefs prohibit Saturday testing, I am homebound or confined, I receive accommodations in school due to a diagnosed and documented disability. So if you have one of those, you can click on it for more information. You can see if we choose non-Saturday testing, it tells you how to handle that situation. If you're homebound and confined, same. You can have special instructions there for how to register for a test. And then if you receive accommodations, then you click on that one and you'll see the information there. For now, we're going to leave all of those blank. And then the next statement is your acceptance of the terms and conditions is required to continue. Please read the following. These are testing rules and policies for the ACT test. It is important that you read through all of these. Again, I'm not going to spend time on the video doing this word by word, but I do want you to read through all of this information and understand it prior to agreeing to it. Okay, so once you have read through all of this, and I want to show you it is extensive, but once you've read through all of it, then you will simply, again, It's really long. Let's just go all the way to the end so you can see how much material is here. It's a lot of legalese, so read through it and see what is important to you. Finally, we reach the end. And then down at the bottom in the yellow box, it says, I understand that by registering for launching, starting, or submitting answer documents for an ACT test, I am agreeing to comply with and be bound by the terms and conditions, testing rules, and policies for the ACT test, referred to as terms. So we're going to choose yes. And then let's go ahead and finish reading this box. I understand and agree that the terms permit ACT to cancel my scores if there is a reason to believe they are invalid. The terms also limit damages available to me and require arbitration. By agreeing to arbitration, I waive my right to have disputes heard by a judge or jury. I understand that ACT owns the test questions and responses, and I will not share them with anyone by any form of communication before, during, or after the test administration. I understand that taking the test for someone else may violate the law and subject me to legal penalties. I consent to the collection and processing of personally identifying information I provide and its subsequent use and disclosure as described in the ACT privacy policy. And there's a link for the privacy policy. I also permit ACT to transfer my personally identifying information to the United States, to ACT, or to a third-party service provider where it will be subject to use and disclosure under the laws of the United States, including being accessible to law enforcement or national security authorities. Whew, it's a mouthful. Okay, and then go ahead and choose continue. The next page will let us get our first glimpse at test dates that we could register for. So this page actually looks very different right now and during the COVID-19 pandemic because there are no test dates available currently other than this June 13 and July 18. So things are up in the air. Typically when you come to this page, you will see all of the test dates for the rest of that year. So just bear with me and do the best you can with this. Hopefully by the time you're actually registering for a test, you'll have more options here. But let's go with what we have for purposes of this video. So you can see the only valid test date left is July the 18th, and there is an asterisk there. Let's see what the asterisk says. It says the selected test date is marked with an asterisk and also appears below. If this is the date you want, proceed by choosing your test option below. If you wish to register for a different date, select it above and proceed. So in the next box, you can see in the bluish gray box, it says your test date, July 18, 2020. The regular registration deadline is June 19th, 2020, and the late registration period is June 20th through June 26th, 2020. So if you are registering during or before the regular registration deadline, the cost of the ACT without writing is $52. And if you're registering with the late registration period, you'll need to add an additional $30. And then if you're taking ACT with writing, it's $68. And again, if you're registering late, an additional $30. So let's talk about the choice of writing or no writing. Most colleges do not require you to submit an essay score on the ACT or SAT. So I don't recommend taking the essay portion or the writing portion of either test unless you have a specific college that requires it. And you can click on this link here, do my colleges require the writing test? And then you can search by the name of the college. So let's just say we're gonna apply to Appalachian State. And let's see if they require the writing test. So you can see under decision, the essay portion is not needed. So you might want to talk with your upward bound advisors to see what their opinion is on taking the essay portion of the ACT and SAT. Again, you can search by college to see if colleges you're interested in require the test. Okay, so let's get back to the registration page. So you're going to choose the ACT with no writing unless you do want to add the writing portion. And then after that, you can choose to add different things on with test prep. There are several options here. If you are being provided a fee waiver for the test, then you will also be eligible to participate in some of these test prep items for free as well. So we'll talk about that when we get to the fee waiver section. The next bit of information is for test information release. I highly recommend using this service if it's offered on the test administration that you sign up for. It happens to be offered for the one we're registering for today on Saturday, July the 18th. What this is it provides a copy of your test questions, your answers, and the answer key. So it's extremely helpful for you to be able to see what you missed on this administration and work on improving those areas prior to taking the test again. So it's offered usually several times throughout the year at a couple of different test administrations. So if you're able to take one where the test information release is available, I highly recommend that. It's a very useful tool. And then the next box is a couple of things they're just trying to sell you. Those are actual physical books, the official ACT prep guide, and then the official ACT prep pack. And those are things that you would be shipped to you. And then down below it talks about non-Saturday testing and then late registration period. And one more thing I want to look at on this page is when will scores be available. So if we click on that, let's see if they show availability for our test date. So yes, July 18th is on there, and it says score reports are usually reported within 2 to 8 weeks after the test date. If you take the ACT with writing, your writing scores will be posted as soon as they are ready, normally about 2 weeks after your multiple choice scores. Your scores cannot be reported until after your writing scores have been added. Okay, so good to know when the results will be back. And let's close this window out and go back. Once you click continue, it'll bring you to the photo upload requirements. It says after you complete your registration, please upload a recent photo that meets the requirements listed below. As part of ACT's test security requirements, you must now provide a photo of yourself in order to complete your test registration. Photos will be used for identification and test security purposes. It will print on your ticket and on the score report that is automatically sent to your high school. You can't print your ticket until the photo is added, and without a ticket, you can't test. If you don't add your photo by the photo deadline for your test date, your registration will be canceled. Okay, let's look at some of the ACT photo requirements. Your photo must be a clear image of only you, not blurry, grainy, or fuzzy, against a plain background. Your photo must be a full face and shoulder shot, squarely facing the camera. You cannot wear dark glasses. You can upload a JPEG, PNG, or BMP image file. Maximum file size is 5 megabytes. And if you scan your photo, the resulting file must print as a 2x2 image or larger. Photo must be at least 640 by 480 pixels. If you have scanned your photo, crop the image to show only your head and shoulders before you upload it. If you wear a head covering daily for religious reasons, adjust it to provide a full face view. See the photo requirements for complete details. And this goes into really super detailed, but if you click on that, you can see lots of information about the photo. Okay, and then here are some acceptable examples. So you can see it's just a shot of the face. It's not blurry, it's very clear. There's a plain background. And then here are some examples of unacceptable photos. So you can see the first picture, her head is cut off, so that's not going to be acceptable. And then a group photo is not acceptable. full-length photo is a no, and the background is too busy in the next picture. And then the one on the bottom left is fuzzy, and the one on the right, her eyes are partially covered. So that's a great place to kind of model your photo after. Just look at these top two photos and try to be as close to those as possible. Okay, let's choose continue. And then you're going to have to enter information about your high school. Fields marked with an asterisk are required. If this is not the high school you attend, please change the information. What is your current grade in high school? So you can choose where you are. Let's click on testing in June or July. It says if you're registering to test in June or July, please select the grade in school that you will have just completed. So that's fine. Let's choose continue. Next, you'll have to put in some information about your high school courses and grades. It says by completing this section, you will add significantly to your academic profile. We report to colleges. Although you may have taken other courses, these give a basic picture of your academic preparation. A response for each course is required if you have indicated to ACT that you are in the 10th, 11th, or 12th grade, even if you have not taken it. If you aren't sure, provide the best information you can for each course listed. You can update or correct this information each time you test. So you do have to choose something for each of these. I went ahead and preloaded that I had taken these classes, and you can change all of this, but you do have to put something in for each of them. So even if, say, that last line under English, other English course not reported above, you have to put something in there. So if it's not something you intend to take, just choose the have not taken and will not take. Okay, so fill in all of those choices and then choose continue. Okay, and then it says we will calculate and report to colleges an unweighted GPA on a 4.0 scale based on the grades you provide for courses in English, math, science, natural sciences, and social studies. The information you give may be verified by college personnel. You may wish to refer to your previous high school grade reports or a copy of your current high school transcript to help you complete this section. So it is really helpful if you have a copy of your transcript prior to filling this information out. If not, do it to the best of your ability. It does say that if you don't know your grades, you may choose to provide this optional information later. Okay, so we're going to leave this blank for now. Okay, and then this page is your college choices. You may send up to 4 score reports to colleges for free as part of the basic registration process. These score reports assist with college admissions as well as financial aid decisions. An additional 2 colleges may be selected at this time for additional score reports for a small fee. You may also log back in after completing the test to have additional score reports sent for a small fee. Again, we're going to talk more about this when we get to the fee waiver section, because actually you can send with a fee waiver more score reports than just 4. So we'll talk about that later, but here I just want to show you how to do this really quickly. So go ahead and choose to add a choice. And you can enter a code number for the college if you know it, or you can search by name. So let's go ahead and try to add Appalachian State. See if that shows up. There it is. So let's select that. Okay, so now we are choosing to send our score report to Appalachian State. And again, you can just keep adding colleges to this list. For now, let's go ahead and continue. This is information about your plans for the future. Responses to these items are required if you have indicated to ACT that you are in 10th, 11th, or 12th grade. And it says, identify the college major program of study you plan to enter. Choose a general area of study. So if you don't know what this is, that's okay. There's an undecided button there. So definitely choose that. Don't feel pressured into choosing something you're not interested in. A list of specific majors related to your selection will appear here. And since we put undecided, then we're going to choose undecided there as well. And then it says select a specific major from the list above and continue. If you don't see the exact major you plan to enter, select a similar one and continue. We're going to leave our choice as undecided. So then the next page continues with plans for the future. Responses to these items are required if you have indicated to ACT that you are in the 10th, 11th, or 12th grade. Identify your choice of occupation. Choose a general occupation. Again, you have an undecided choice there. And then a list of specific occupations related to your selection. We're going to choose undecided and then continue. Your plans for the future. Again, let's go through your selections. So it's just updating what you've chosen, and then they say, how sure are you about this choice of college major? Well, we're undecided, but we're sure that we're undecided. So let's go ahead and say, I am very sure. And then same for choice of occupation and continue. Now we're going to have to make some decisions about where we're going to test. So it says if you know the 6-digit code number for a particular test center where you would like to test, enter and confirm it here. We don't have a test code site number, so let's see what else the choices are. It says, or you can enter a 5-digit zip code to see test centers within a 25-mile radius that are scheduled for your test date. Or we can find test centers near you that are scheduled for your test date. Choose the state or territory where you would like to test. So I'm going to go ahead and choose North Carolina, and let's just see what comes up. Okay, so lots of choices here for the July 18th test date. And let's go ahead and select Watauga High School. And then verify that all of your information is correct before you click continue. So again, it's going to ask us to read over all of our information, make any changes that we need to make. And if everything is correct, we're going to go ahead and go to continue. And that's going to bring us to the payment page. So here we are, and we need to pay the $52. So you will have a voucher or waiver number if you have a fee waiver, and you'll put that in here. That will come from your Upward Bound counselor and or your high school counselor. And then again, they're going to give you a last minute chance to purchase any test prep items you need. And then now you're finally going to have to enter your credit card information unless you've entered your fee waiver voucher here. Okay, and then let's just read in the yellow box, please be advised, after you submit your order, most fees are not refundable. After you click the submit button, if you have not previously uploaded a photo, you will be prompted to upload one. Your registration will automatically be canceled without a refund if you have not uploaded a photo by July 10th, 2020. So we are going to click submit, but since I didn't enter a fee waiver number or a credit card number, it's really not going to let me move on. So that's pretty much it for the ACT registration. Once you are able to put in a fee waiver number or a credit card number, then you will have to submit that information and it will give you a confirmation number. And they'll also be sending information to your email once everything is confirmed. So that's it for the ACT registration on the website. I'll be back in just a minute to talk a little bit about the fee waiver. Okay, to just wrap up our ACT account registration and test registration video, I want to go over the fee waiver eligibility requirements. This form is available if you simply Google ACT fee waiver. You can find a PDF of this to download and read through. So over here it tells you the eligibility requirements and being enrolled in a program for economically disadvantaged, for example, a federally funded program such as Gear Up or Upward Bound qualifies you for a fee waiver. So be sure to talk to your Upward Bound counselors in order to receive a fee waiver. The actual fee waiver will have a code that you will enter on the payment page when you're registering for an ACT setting. Okay, a few things I want to point out on this form is what is covered with a fee waiver. So an ACT fee waiver covers the registration and late fees for either the ACT without writing or the ACT with writing. The waiver covers one report to a student's high school and up to 6 college choices at the time of registration. So remember when we were looking at that on the video, you could register for 4 free reports to colleges, and then you have to pay for the additional 2. But if you're using fee waiver, you can choose up to 6. And then not only that, after registration, the student can request up to an additional 20 regular score reports for free with the fee waiver. Okay, and then the other parts I want to talk about are these benefits. So when you pay with a fee waiver for the ACT, you gain access to test prep tools. So you get the Rapid Review, All Access, and ACT Online Prep. And then also you can request a waiver request for waiver or deferral of college admission application fees. So the ACT offers a request for waiver or deferral of college admission application fee forms for students that qualify for an ACT fee waiver. So you have to complete the form as part of the application process, and it's available at this address. And again, you can talk to your Upward Bound counselor more about that information. And then I also want to point out the usage restriction here. You are allowed to use a maximum of 2 separate ACT fee waivers. So you can take it 2 times for free with the fee waiver. Okay, and that, well, let me clarify there. You'll need to have a separate fee waiver for each of the 2 tests, but you can do it up to 2 tests. Okay, and then here is information on submitting forms. Again, this is how to get your form. You most likely will receive it from your Upward Bound counselor. And this is just information for counselors on advising eligible students. Okay, so that wraps up our ACT account registration and test registration video. We'll see you next time to talk about the SAT.